Support the freedom of independent journalism by shopping now at brighteonstore.com.
Fourth hour, I'm stepping in for the next three segments, and I've been watching the show today. Alex's opening segment hit the mark perfectly about what's really at stake and how we need to expand our view of what's happening. I've also been listening to the callers. I want to say bless all of you who have called. It seems to be a very spiritual day. For some reason, there's a spiritual moment of awakening happening right now where all of us realize that the intense evil of the Democrats, how they are willing to steal elections and commit fraud and lie to the voters and lie to win elections, and how they're willing to commit deep state treason, and how the media is so dishonest. They just blatantly lie about that Jim Acosta video, for example. The realization is that this is not simply a war about what are facts. This isn't a war about different points of view. This is a spiritual war. And it's a war that has at stake the sustainability of even human consciousness or human souls on this earth. And so this is a really important time for us to step back and get a big picture, a cosmic picture, you might say, a spiritual picture, a divine picture about what's actually happening, and understand where the causes are of these problems that we are now experiencing. Because, look, the Democrats are operating not only with a complete lack of good faith now when it comes to elections, they're operating with intense evil, as if they have been taken over and the humanity has been drained out of them. And there are just, let's say, metaphorically, just demonic spirits now operating those Democrats. And through that demonic spirit, they're trying to crush all human dignity, crush consciousness, destroy truth, destroy the lives of unborn babies as well. They revel in death and suffering, and their policies create suffering. And yet they can never take responsibility for their policies and the effects that they create. They always have to blame Trump, or they have to blame the Russians. They have to make up something to blame, because they can never blame themselves for the hellish outcomes that they have created. And so our role in this, and I promise I'm going to get more practical here, this isn't just a spiritual discussion. Our role is to, number one, recognize what's happening, recognize that this is a spiritual battle taking place, and that they don't just want our society, they don't just want control of the House or control of the Senate, they want our souls. They want to crush and destroy everything that is of God. Do you understand the severity of their attack on our entire universe, you might even say? It's an attack on God and all those who embrace what is divine. It's not just controlling America or overrunning America. That's one of their goals, but that's on the way to overrunning God. Now, let me share something with you. There was a book written a few years ago called Proof of Heaven by a neurosurgeon. His name is Eben Alexander. And Eben Alexander was a skeptic. He was a neurosurgeon trained in conventional medicine, trained as a scientist, obviously. And he didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in anything that smacked of religion. He wasn't interested in any of that. He just wanted to live on this earth, and he thought that there was no life after death. And so, like most people on the left, he was really an atheist who thought there would be no repercussions for his actions. Well, he suffered a very extreme infection of his brain that actually killed him. He died in the hospital due to this brain infection. It was the most severe infection that many doctors had ever seen. And he spent several days in a coma followed by actual death. And during this time, he experienced what he describes as proof of heaven. He experienced both hell and heaven. He experienced a timeless torture of hell, as if he was existing in hell for infinity. It was timeless, he said. There was no experience of the flow of time. And then out of that, he was saved by actual God, as he describes it. And he felt a tremendous love and acceptance. And he felt and sensed more intense emotions and a sense of reality and consciousness than he had ever experienced in his entire life. During this time, his brain was not functioning. he was brain dead. And so all those theories that say, oh, no, these are just artifacts of neurology, those are false. This man, Eben Alexander, experienced actual hell and then heaven. And the reason I mention this is because when he came back to life, he was actually saved by God. He was actually brought back into his body. Somehow he woke up from this, his infection was healed, and he lived to write this book. And what he said in this book is very important, is that Earth is a battlefield for a cosmic spiritual battle, and there is a higher concentration of evil on Earth than at any other point in the entire universe. He said that the universe is a place of love and a place of, well, what you might call liberty. That's my term, not his, but a place of love, a place of divinity throughout the entire cosmos. And yet there's this one place, which is Earth, where what he described as hellish Satan is trying to take over. You and I happen to be on this battlefield.